Hey guys, so for this video, I'm going to be counting down the top 10 controller players in the world. Before we start though, I need you all to understand how difficult making this truly was. There's so many good controller players nowadays from so many different regions that it's impossible to be right to everyone. On top of that, I've also decided to make this video a full week before the FNCS Invitational Finals, meaning I may look like a clown if someone I don't talk about ends up popping off. Still, for the sake of your enjoyment, I'm gonna go forward with this video today. Last thing I want to mention, which is important for everyone in the comments, is to understand that these rankings are solely based on competitive Fortnite. I do not care about how many wagers your favorite player has won, how cool their high ground retakes are, or how big their Twitter followings are. All I care about is how they've performed in tournaments, focusing more heavily on the ones that took place in 2020. So without further ado, let's jump right on into these rankings. Coming in at the number 10 spot, we have SRN Hardfind. Hardfind is a UK-based player that I actually used to watch way back in the day while he was on console. Fast forward about 2 years, and he's quickly proving himself as one of the scariest controller players in EU. Hardfind finished top 50 in nearly every Chapter 2 Season 1 Cash Cup, qualified for the Squad FNCS semi-finals, and placed 37th in the Ultimate Cup. Then, in Chapter 2 Season 2, he came 5th in the FNCS Duos warm-up, 7th in the Week 2 qualifier, 2nd in the Week 3 one, and 15th overall in the Grand Finals. Lastly, without the help of his duo Astro SMZ, Hardfind placed 10th in the Week 1 Solo Cash Cup and 43rd in the first round of the FNCS Invitational. Easily my favorite thing about Hardfind, outside of his accent, is how intelligent of a player he truly is. He doesn't have the fastest mechanics or the smoothest looking gameplay, but he knows how to win fights and make smart decisions. So considering how difficult it is to be consistent in Europe, Hardfind is undoubtedly deserving of his spot on my list. Next up at number 9 is Wavy Jacob. Just like SRN Hardfind, Jacob made a name for himself by putting out content on YouTube. Where he began to catch the eye of tier 1 organizations, however, is in competitive. Jacob placed top 5 in 7 different Chapter 2 Season 1 Solo Cash Cups, including winning 3 of them, and finished top 3 in every single day of the Winter Royale, including winning the first 2. On top of that, in Chapter 2 Season 2, Jacob won the first Solo Cash Cup, the first week of the FNCS Invitationals, and came 2nd in a whopping 6 Duo Cash Cups. That is absolutely absurd regardless of the region you play on. Finally, even though it's not placement related, Jacob does not play claw or with paddles. He plays with a standard controller, jumps with his X button, and lifts his finger entirely off his thumbstick every time he needs to press it. How he manages to do that, I honestly have no clue, but I think it's something pretty cool to think about. So love him or hate him for making funny tweets like these, Wavy Jacob continues to be one of the top controller players from NA West. Moving on to the 8th spot, and we have BH Knight. Knight, especially when compared to the other players on this list, is a fresh face to the competitive Fortnite scene. Not in the sense that he hadn't played competitively before, as he actually placed highly in a few Season X Cash Cups and qualified for the FNCS Grand Finals in both trios and squads, more so in the sense that he has never been regarded as a top tier controller player. That was until the end of Chapter 2 Season 1, where Knight started popping off. He finished 4th in the Week 9 Solo Cash Cup, 12th in the Week 11 one, and 28th in the Winter Royale. From there, in Chapter 2 Season 2, he and his duo Rogue Shark came 5th in the FNCS Duo Warm-Up, 2nd in Week 3, 5th in Week 4, and 3rd in the Grand Finals. That finals performance was the highest any controller player got in NA East duos, not to mention those accolades don't include any duo cash cups or solo events where Knight shined. So while he may not have the biggest following, it would truly be a crime to leave him out of my top 10. Following up Knight at our number 7 spot is letshe. I kinda spoiled this rank since it was on the thumbnail, but you guys had to see it coming after letshe's ridiculous showing in the FNCS Invitationals last weekend. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, letshe finished 2nd overall in the first week, netting him $10,000 in prize money. In addition to that this season, he's placed top 5 in numerous duo cash cups, qualified for the FNCS Grand Finals, and was always near the top of each solo event. Lastly, and before Chapter 2 Season 2, letshe finished 4th and 9th in the Winter Royale, 3rd in the Week 9 Solo Cash Cup, 3rd at the DreamHack Winter LAN event, and was the first European controller player to qualify for the World Cup. Now, the main reason I can't put letshe up higher is because he has not done too well in team game modes such as squads or duos. That does not mean he's a bad team player, it just means he's way better as a solo. So I have a weird feeling letshe is gonna do well next weekend and mess up my list. For today though, I'm gonna keep him at number 7. After that, the 6th best controller player in the world goes to Scoped. Scoped is yet another young god that only started to make a name for himself in Chapter 2. The weird thing about that though is he was just as good at Season X. To prove my point, he placed 8th in the Week 5 Solo Cash Cup, 7th the next week, 2nd the week after that, and qualified for the Trio FNCS Grand Finals. This dominance continued into Chapter 2 Season 2, where he placed top 5 in 5 additional Cash Cups and finished top 15 in 2 days of the Winter Royale. Can you guess who he played duos with there? None other than his permanent duo, Turner tfue. Anyways, in Chapter 2 Season 2, he won the first 2 Solo Cash Cups, placed 3rd in the Duo FNCS Week 3 qualifier, top 5 in an absurd amount of Contender and Daily Duo Cash Cups, and won his FNCS semi-final heats. So, although Scoped got a little unlucky in the FNCS Grand Finals, you cannot deny he's had one of the best single season performances from any controller player. Halfway through, and for our 5th spot, we have AV. Unlike the other pros I've mentioned, AV was one of the least popular answers to this tweet. I don't know if it's because he doesn't edit as fast as letshe does, or because he doesn't get as many viewers as Scoped does, but I think his placements alone speak for themselves. In Chapter 2 Season 1, AV won the Week 4 Solo Cash Cup, came 3rd in Week 8, 5th in Week 9, and 4th in Week 11. Then this season, AV placed 27th at DreamHack Anaheim, 2nd in the Week 1 Cash Cup, 1st in the Week 3 one, 12th just a few days ago, and 21st in the first round of the FNCS Invitational. Guess what? That's only AV's solo accomplishments. In duos, he and Chap won the Week 3 Contender Cash Cup, finished top 5 in a bunch of other ones, came 6th in the second week of FNCS duos, 3rd in their semi-final heats, and 4th in the NA East Grand Finals. That kind of consistency in both solos and duos is nearly unmatched region-wide, so hopefully you guys start giving AV more credit because he's currently a top 5 controller player in the world. Next in order at the number 4 spot is CRR. If I remember correctly, the last time I made my controller player tier list, I had CRR at 6th and said he had the most potential out of everyone. I guess I was right because ever since that was uploaded, he's only gotten better. In duos this season with Mitro, he placed 1st in the 3rd week of FNCS qualifiers, 7th in the next week, and 4th in their semi-final heat. On top of that, he won the Week 1 Duo Cash Cup, placed top 6 in a couple of Solo Cash Cups, top 50 in even more Contender Cash Cups, and top 75 in the first week of the FNCS Invitational. Finally, in Chapter 2 Season 1, CRR led one of the best European squads to 3 top 3 FNCS placements and carried Mitro to 3rd, 9th, and 4th in the Winter Royale. That's a joke by the way, Mitro, I love you, please follow me on Twitter. Seriously though, CRR is one of the few top tier controller player IGLs, which only makes me appreciate him as a player even more. So even with all the changes to Legacy that I know messed him up a little, he's proven himself as one of the best controller players in the game. On to the top 3, and we have a bit of a surprise, NRG EpikWhale. Before you say anything, yes, this is the same EpikWhale that came 3rd in the World Cup on keyboard and mouse. In fact, it's the same EpikWhale who dominated in squads, and the same EpikWhale who started a mousepad company. Why did he switch to controller? Well, listen to his placements. For duos, EpikWhale placed 3rd in the FNCS warm-up, 2nd in the first qualifier week, 8th in the second one, 1st in the 4th one, and 1st in both the semi-final heats as well as the NA West Grand Finals. For solos, Epik won the Week 3 Cash Cup, making him the first ever player to do so on both inputs, and came 3rd in the first week of the FNCS Invitational. The kid is one of the smartest players in the game, period. As to why I'm not ranking him higher, it's mainly because he's been full-time on controller for only 2 months. So until he proves himself without a mythic drum gun, which I have no doubt he can and will do, he'll have to settle for the 3rd best controller player on my list. Speaking of the best controller players, number 2 on my list is Wolfiez. Wolfiez will definitely be mad at me for not putting him first, but 2nd is not too bad. 2nd also happens to be where Wolfiez placed in the Fortnite World Cup Finals, bagging him a light $1.125 million. Fast forward a few months to Chapter 2 Season 1, and Wolfiez showed why he was not a one-hit wonder. He won the Week 4 Solo Cash Cup, placed 3rd in the Week 2 FNCS qualifiers, and finished 2nd in the EU Grand Final. After that, he came 4th in the Winter Royale, 3rd in the Week 10 Platform Cash Cup, 1st in the Week 11 Solo Cash Cup, and top 25 at the DreamHack Winter LAN. Most recently, in Chapter 2 Season 2, he placed 3rd in the FNCS Duos Warm-Up, 2nd in the Week 2 Cash Cup, and 52nd in the Week 1 FNCS Invitational. The kid obviously has everything he needs to be great, it just depends on whether or not he comes to play. So as long as Wolfiez keeps motivated and finds a duo he can click with, there's no reason he cannot take the title of best controller player in the game. Now, before I get to who I think is the best one, I'm quickly gonna do some honorable mentions for players that didn't quite make the list. From NA West, we have Reeton Thomas, players. From Europe, we have Bola and Scally. From the Middle East, we have Unit. From Asia, we have Riddle Bob. From Brazil, we have Frosty. From OCE, we have Dylan, Bresso, and Forbes. And from NA East, we have Assault, who I was debating putting at number 10. We have Innocence, Furious, and Sway. Yup, you heard that correctly. Sway is only going to be an honorable mention. Please don't hurt me for it. I know Sway is better mechanically and has way more potential than everyone I've talked about so far. What you guys gotta realize though is he only just started playing competitive Fortnite. Until he shows himself off in an event like the FNCS Grand Finals, then I cannot put him in my top 10. With that being said, we'll finally get to I think is the best controller player in the world, NRG Unknown. You can call me a fanboy or a simp since I said he was the best 6 months ago. I don't really care because to me, Unknown is still the best. He's without a doubt the best box fighter and W keyer, and he's got the best placements from any controller player during Chapter 2. To be more specific, Unknown has won 5 different solo cash cups, including winning the first 2-round one from 2 weeks ago. Additionally, he's the only FNCS champion from squads on this list, the only player to win both a duo and solo cash cup in the same week, and the only controller player to qualify for the Solo World Cup on NA East. Trust me, I'm well aware he did not have the greatest showing in FNCS duos. Keep in mind though, that was when he was switching from Legacy to Exponential, and he was playing way too much keyboard and mouse, which he still continues to do. I really don't think many other players can make such a drastic switch in so little time, all while still placing top 100 in every single solo event. So let me know down below if you guys agree or disagree. I personally think NRG Unknown is still the number 1 controller scrimmer. Overall guys, that's my list for the top 10 controller players in the world as of this moment. Please realize these were all my own opinion and that I'm making this video on May 14th, 2020, meaning it will slowly change over time. So if you guys enjoyed it, do be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and to turn on post notifications. Shout out to all you awesome people using code JERIan. I went ahead and announced all the giveaway winners in my last community tab post. You guys should have received an email if you won. Otherwise, that's it from me, and I will see you guys in the next one. Later.